Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. Offering all my respects to all my teachers before we begin. We're again looking at Hari Bhakti Vilasa, 6th Vilasa. And last time we got up all the way in our worship of the Lord in his external form, in the deity form. We got all the way up to after the bath and after offering clothes and ornaments. And now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to look at offering the Yajyo Pavitam, or the sacred thread. So let's have a look at the text. So text 261, this is in the 6th chapter of Hari Bhakti Vilasa. Ata Yajyo Pavitam. Again, the word ata usually comes at the beginning of a subject. So now we're going to talk about the sacred thread. Sacred thread worn by Trivarnikas, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas in the caste system of the Varnashram system, different Varnas. The sacred thread is usually worn over the left shoulder and under the right arm, which is the way that a chadar or a top cloth called angavastram is normally worn when one is performing a ritual, and this is so that the right arm is completely free to offer oblations into the fire or to offer something to the deity, and the left arm is covered by the chadar. So the Yajyo Pavitam seems to have come out of that system of wearing the chadar in that way. Of course, the Yajyo Pavitam can be worn over the left shoulder, over the right shoulder, or around the neck. And these three different styles are worn when one is performing an auspicious ceremony over the left shoulder, which has to do with offerings to devatas or to the Supreme Person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, or over the right shoulder when we're offering tarpanas or other oblations to the forefathers in shraddhas, what we call apara karmas, ceremonies that are not exactly auspicious, but they're to be done in the scriptures after a person's death. And around the neck, in the case of offering tarpanas which is oblation to water through the hand, or different prayers to or activities that have to do with the human beings or the rishis, because we have different obligations to all these, to the devatas, demigods, to the ancestors, the pitris, and also to the rishis. So depending on whether we're performing a ceremony which has to do with devata worship, pitri worship, or rishi worship, we have to wear the Yajyo Pavitam in different ways. So here, the Lord also, because he's considered to be a high-class person, he also wears that sacred thread, which is supposedly important for a person to wear if they're performing certain rituals. So here we have, after displaying the mudra for offering clothes to the Lord and decorating him with garments, one should offer him a sacred thread while displaying the appropriate mudra. So it doesn't exactly say what the mudra is, but we can understand that there's a vastra mudra for offering the clothes, and then later on there's a Yajyo Pavitam mudra, like that. So we can look those up later on, and we can see the exact way to the exact hand gesture to use when offering these things. So now we have, that's very simple verse about offering the Yajyo Pavitam, offering the sacred thread. Otherwise it's called different things in different places. It's called Janayu in North India. In South India, it's also called Puno. Okay, so text 262. Ata upavita, ata upavita arpanam mahatmyam. The glories of offering or giving a sacred thread to the Lord. By offering a sacred thread made of 9 fine white or yellow threads, to Lord Govinda, one will become expert in mastering the understanding of Vedanta. Okay, text 263. Text 263. Yagyo Pavitadanena. Okay, so from the Nandi Purana, this Nandi Purana is probably some sort of Nandi Purana is probably a Upa Purana. So it mentions here also about offering the sacred thread, the glories of offering the sacred thread. There is no doubt that those who donate sacred threads to the Brahmanas and who offer them to the demigods become knowers of the four Vedas and highly purified. Okay, so now after offering the sacred thread, right, we have text 264 talks about Ata. Again, the next topic is brought up. The next topic after the sacred thread is Ata Padya Tilaka Achamani. Right, so it says here Padya, Tilaka, and Achmana offered after offering the sacred thread. There's also a mantra for offering the sacred thread. Just before we finish that with that topic, that is normally there's a Vedic mantra. Yagyo pavitam paramam pavitram prajapatehe yat sahajam purastaatim ayushyamagram patimancha subram yagyo pavitam paramastute. Okay. All right. So it's interesting. What I thought was interesting also was in the previous sloka, it said that the sacred thread to be offered is made up of 9 fine white or yellow threads. So normally we do see that different personalities sometimes wear different numbers of sacred threads. The normal system is for brahmacharis to wear 3, grihastas to wear 6. These are sets of 3. 3 threads or one thread is knotted into a group of 3, which is called a set, and that one set for brahmacharis are 3, 2 sets for or 6 for grihastas. And if the person is a sannyasi who is a tridandi sannyasi, because the ekadandi sannyasis, they don't wear the thread, they keep the thread wrapped up with a piece of deerskin around their ekadanda. But the tridandi sannyasis, they do keep the thread, and so sometimes they wear 9. So here it's mentioned offering 9 to the Lord, 9 threads. The 9 threads, also the other thing, initially I was saying how the thread is, originally the thread was like a chadar, which was over the left shoulder under the right arm, used in ritual practice to keep the right arm free to offer into the fire or to offer the item in the ritual. So similarly, when we wear the sacred thread, sometimes we also wear a chadar. So one can also wear an extra set of 3 on top of the 3 as a brahmachari, or 6 as a grihasta that one is wearing, or 9 as a sannyasi that one is wearing, and therefore one can have 6, 9, and 12 sets of strands of thread like that, because the last set is considered to be like a chadar for that sacred thread, which is initially a chadar itself. So a chadar for the chadar. Okay. It's very interesting that when we do the Upakarma ceremony once a year on Lord Balaram's appearance, which is the Shravana Purnima, the full moon day of the month of Shravan. At that time, there's also sometimes a puja which is done to the sacred thread, or to the sacred threads, like that. And during the puja of the sacred thread, the different articles of worship that we're going through now are offered to the sacred thread, including a sacred thread is offered to the sacred thread. So this is a very interesting sort of ritual if you've ever seen it. Anyway, continuing on with the text 264, we come to another topic of offering padya and achmana. Padya means water for washing the feet, which we've already discussed. Achmana is water for washing the mouth or rinsing the mouth, or purifying the self by sipping water and chanting mantra. And also tilaka, which is the different markings on the forehead and other parts of the upper body, 12 parts. And this can be also offered to the Lord. Right, so this is the time to offer that to the Lord. So let's read about that. Thereafter, one should offer padya to the Lord then Achmana to the Lord, Achmaniya. This would be after, we can also offer Achmana directly after the bath, but here he's offering Achmana just after offering Padya, after offering the sacred thread, after decorating his forehead with a beautiful tilak. There's different ways of putting tilak on the Lord, of course. Normally, when we go to temples, we see deities in the temples of different Vaishnava sects. They put the tilak markings on the forehead of the Lord, which correspond to their sect. So you go to a Gaudiya temple, you're going to see the deities wearing Gaudiya tilak. If you go to a Sri Vaishnava temple, you see Sri Vaishnava tilak, like that. There are exceptions to this. For instance, in the temple of Sri Rangam, they have the deity Namparama wears Kasturi Tilakam, because in the scriptures, it mentions that Kasturi means musk. So the deity wears a black marking on his forehead of musk, which gives a very beautiful fragrance. Okay, so in any case, according to your sampradaya, according to your particular tradition, there'll be a way of offering tilak markings on the forehead and other parts of the body for the deity. And male deities normally wear tilak, female deities normally wear kumkum or some sort of, and they may wear a different style of tilak, right, than the male deities. Okay, so here we have those things. Now we come to bhushana or ornaments, like that. So previously we after the bath we dried the deity's body with what we call plotavastra, or a clean towel to dry the deity after he took the bath. Then after that, we had to offer the two cloths, the upper cloth and the bottom cloth and the upper cloth, the main cloth to the deity. And then after, I would say, if you have an utsava deity, a small metal deity or something like that, you're going to offer of Lord Krishna, you're going to put the dhoti on first, and then you're going to wait before putting the other angavastra, the upper cloth on. You're going to first of all put the yajna pavitra on, the sacred thread. Then put the upper cloth on, and then we're talking about here. Putting on tilak after that. Okay, so this is the normal system that we follow when we take bath. After we take bath, we put on clothes, and after we put on clothes, except we leave the top part of our body bare, so that we can put on the 12 tilak markings on the top of the body. Okay, so the same procedure can be done with the deity. Now, what I've seen mostly is that if people are actually going to paint on the tilak markings on a small deity, a small male deity of Krishna or Lord Chaitanya or like that, then a lot of times people will put the tilak on before they put the dhoti on, before they put on the clothes, like that. But here it seems to be indicating that the clothes are put on first. Of course, we don't want to put the upper cloth on because we have to put the tilak on different parts of the upper body. So anyhow, now comes the time when we finish offering the clothes and we finish putting the tilak on the deity. Now the next thing is atā bhushanam. We're going to offer ornaments, different ornaments to the Lord, jewels and crowns and a flute, a staff in the case of Lord Krishna, other paraphernalia perhaps in the case of other deities. Okay, so text 265, after this, one should adorn the Lord's body with costly ornaments and then display the appropriate mudra. So there's a bhushana or an alankara mudra, which is shown at this time. Now we're going to get the Mahatmya. This is all very, very simple. They don't go into great detail about how to dress, how to offer ornaments, what sort of dress, what sort of ornaments are offered. It's just sort of given in one verse, each upachara, each service, and then he proceeds to pull quotations from different places in the scripture that give us an idea of the glories of offering those things. Okay, so here we have in verse 266 from the Skanda Purana, again a conversation between Shiva and Parvati that says, according to his ability, a devotee should decorate the Lord with ornaments made of jewels and pearls. right? So we have here Mani and Moktika. Mani and Moktika, Samyuktam, jewels and pearls, right? Or else with other types of ornaments. By doing so, he'll achieve the merit of performing an Agdistoma sacrifice. For those of you who don't know what an Agdistoma sacrifice is, first of all, there are two types of sacrifices. There are, in general, there are the smarta sacrifices, which are normal sacrifices that we're aware of, smarta or pancharatric sacrifices. And then they have the Shrauta sacrifices that according to the Shruti, that are done according to the Shruti. Many of them are part of the 40 samskars which are performed by the Trivarnika males, by the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya males. So there are actually 40 samskars. Most people know of only 16, but there are, in fact, if we add on to those, Paka Yagyas, Havi Yagyas, and Soma Yagyas. Okay, so this Agnistoma is a Soma Yagya. So anybody who's interested, if you want to go more into the details of Vedic Shrauta sacrifices, just let me know that we can have maybe a special class or a seminar about Shrauta sacrifice. Right. So Agni, of course, means fire. Agnistoma is a specific fire sacrifice in which, first of all, we get a special. It's a type of soma sacrifice. So there are several different soma sacrifices. And what do we mean by soma is that there is a herb or a plant which is gotten, which is a soma plant. That plant is gotten and it is crushed. The plant is crushed and some juice comes out of the plant. And that juice is used to make a type of dough. And that dough ferments, right? Or is maybe, I'm not exactly quite sure, but in a way, what the idea is to take this juice from the plant and ferment it in a certain way, and then drops of the juice or oblations of the juice, of the soma juice, which is supposed to be an intoxicant, but a sattvic intoxicant. Normally, we think of intoxicants as being rajasic and tamasic, but this particular thing, the soma ras or the soma juice, coming from the soma plant, is considered to be a sattvic intoxicant. So it is possible for Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas to say, well, of course, Kshatriyas, maybe Vaishyas even, they are not forbidden from taking certain intoxicants. But Brahmins normally don't take intoxicants. But in this case, the soma ras can also be taken by Brahmins. Now, at the end of, during the sacrifice, that intoxicating juice is offered into the fire for Lord Vishnu. It's offering to Lord Vishnu. But at the end of the sacrifice, then there is some left over, and that is given, one drop is given to each of the Brahmins, and they take that as a type of sattvic intoxicant prasadam. They have to shave their heads, take a bath with all their clothes on, and also change their Brahmin threads or sacred threads after that. So anyway, that's an Agnistoma. Agnistoma is a very difficult and very large sacrifice and involves quite a lot of priests and quite a lot of ritual performance. It's very difficult to perform. So here, it's just mentioning that when we offer jewels and ornaments to the Lord, it's as if we have performed an Agnistoma. Okay, it's also said in other places here, Gunjamatram Suvarnasya. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, in text 267 and 268, it says, "Oh, beautiful lady." So it seems like this is still continuing on with the conversation between Shiva and Parvati. Okay, from Skanda Purana. "Oh, beautiful lady, a person who offers Lord Vishnu a small quantity of gold," right? A small quantity of gold. Here in the first line, it says here, Gunja Matram. So Gunja is a small berry. Gunja is a small berry. A lot of times people make little garlands out of these berries, which are used to represent Lakshmi in the worship of Govardhan Shilas. When you have a Govardhan Shila, Lord Chaitanya had a Govardhan Shila, which he used to worship by putting on his head, crying on it, to bathe it, in great tears of joy. And he gave it to Raghunath Das Goswami and told him, you can just worship it with some water and 8 tulsi manjaris. Okay, so this Govardhan Shila he also gave Raghunath Das Goswami, this a small garland of these gunja berries, which are red and black berries, and they're actually quite toxic. So just warn everybody not to eat these or keep them around children, like that. Anyhow, so this gunjamala is representative of Lakshmi according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, and but here gunjamatram means that a small, very amount of suvarnasya, of gold. Suvarna means gold, right? So a person who offers a small quantity of gold becomes qualified to the Lord, just a pea-shaped or berry sized amount of gold, becomes qualified to reside in the abode of Indra until the final dissolution of the universe. Therefore, O goddess, you should always try to offer ornaments to Lord Vishnu, right? Lord Narayana becomes satisfied when a devotee offers him ornaments with love and devotion. And I can remind you again, we discussed this verse that is quite famous. I'm not exactly sure of the origin of this verse, but it says, Vishnu Malankaram Priyam, that Vishnu, the Lord Sriman Narayana, Lord Krishna, right, likes ornaments, likes to be offered ornaments, likes to be decorated like that. Shivam Abhishekam Priyam. Shiva, who appears in the form of a lingam usually, right, likes to have Abhishekam or likes to be bathed. Banum Namaskaram Priyam. Banu, the sun, likes to be offered obeisances, right? We discussed that before, the Surya Namaskara, which is a set of exercises in Hatha Yoga, which is offering prayers to the sun. And Brahmana Bhojana Priyaha, that Brahmanas like to eat, or they enjoy foodstuffs, right? Which can also sometimes be stated, the last line can also sometimes, of this verse, can sometimes be stated, Brahmana Bhojana Priyaha or Brahmana Bahunam Priyaha. That Brahmins are liked by everyone. That's another way of saying the last line. This is a very common verse in India, but we don't know the origin of it. Okay, so maybe coming from some later work like Subhasita, the interesting saying that we just given. So now we have again, quoting from this Nandi Purana. I've never really heard of this Nandi Purana, but again, it's an Upa Purana, must be a small type of Purana, not one of the big ones, the major Puranas. Text 269, it says, one who donates ornaments to the Brahmanas or demigods, devatas, becomes himself decorated with valuable ornaments and attains the abode of Varuna. The abode, it says here, right here, Sa Gached, he goes, Varunam Loka, okay. Right, in due course of time, he is again born in this world as the king of one of the 9 islands. So 9 islands here is mentioned. It's so Nripaha means king. Patir Nripaha means he's the king. Prithivya means the earth. Helena Bhaved Dvipaha. Okay, so I don't exactly see that 9 is mentioned, but this earth, according to Puranic cosmology, the conception of the universe in the Puranas is that the earth is made up of 9 islands that and has certain seas in between them. So the middle island is called Jambudvip. So in the Puranic cosmology, the middle island of the 9 islands, you can imagine the islands to be like a 3x3 square, or maybe there are 9 islands concentric within each other. But anyway, there's 9 islands. And the middle island is called Jambudvip. And I saw today a translation of Jambudvip as Blackberry Island. So apparently Jambu. Jambu may be like there's a jamun. There's a type of fruit in India which is sort of like a big grape with a big seed in it in northern India. It may be a jumbo fruit is like that. I'm not quite sure exactly what a jumbo fruit is. We can look it up in the dictionary and find a scientific name for it. But anyway, this is considered to be the main island or the middle island.
I was also, Swami, I was seeing one translation that it could also mean guava.
Okay. Jumbo fruit could be a guava. Okay. We have guavas here in Hawaii, and there's different types of guavas. We have actually you've got the green guavas, you've got the guavas which are very red inside, right? And we also have another small one, which is called a strawberry guava, which tastes like strawberries.
Mm.
So there's different types of guavas. But the guava you usually get in India. And I'm not quite sure if guava is a native fruit of India or not. We'd have to also look that up. Anyway, so but that's just about the 9 islands. So text 270 to 272. This is quoted from Vishnu Dharma Uttara, right? Vishnu Dharma Uttara. So this is the Vishnu Dharma means the religiosity or the religious precepts of Vishnu, and Uttara means the highest, like the highest precepts. Okay, so after offering earrings, kundalas, in Sanskrit the word kundala means earrings, to the Lord, one becomes expert in understanding the Vedas, attains good fortune, and achieves the merit of performing a horse sacrifice. That means an ashvamedha, right, which was usually performed by an emperor, right? By decorating the Lord's ears with earrings, one receives the power of hearing things from a great distance. By offering a crown to the Lord, one becomes the foremost personality of this world and rules the entire world along with the 7 seas. Okay, so there are 9 islands, and also, there's also a pineapple guava according to Raghunath. All right. I have strawberry guavas right outside my house window, so here in my garden. But pineapple guava I haven't heard of, but going to Raghunath, there are such things. Okay, so let's continue on. 7 seas goes with the 9 islands. There are these different seas. And in Puranic cosmology, there are even oceans of ghee and liquor and milk and yogurt and all these different items. Okay, so in the Tritiya Kanda usually means the 3rd. Kanda means just a section of a book of the same literature, and that literature was Vishnu Dharmottara, right? We get similar things being said. This text 273 to 276. By offering valuable ornaments to the Lord, one becomes the foremost of human beings in this world. O exalted Brahmanas, by offering beautiful ornaments made of jewels, gold, and pearls, one achieves the merit of performing a Rajasuya sacrifice. So just like this Ashvamedha, the Ashvamedha sacrifice is a horse sacrifice that is done normally when the person becomes a king, soon after he becomes made a king. And then the Rajasuya sacrifice is another kingly sacrifice that a king does or an emperor does to show how great they are. Right? By offering anklets to the Lord, one becomes respected everywhere he goes. By offering a waistband to the Lord, I'm not exactly sure what a waistband will be. There are different types. There are cloth waistbands. There are also metallic waistbands that are possible to be offered in India, traditional sort of adornments. One can rule the entire earth along with the oceans without any disturbance. There's no doubt of this. So continuing on, text 277 to 280, by offering ankle bells and a ring to Lord Hari. So we're not sure about this ring, whether this ring is on the finger or on the toe, because there can be toe rings, there can be finger rings. In fact, there can also be nose rings as well as earrings. So there's different types of rings. By offering ankle bells and a ring to Lord Hari, one accumulates good fortune. By offering bracelets, there are also bracelets which go on the wrist or on the forearm, and then there are also types of bracelets that go on the upper arm as well, which I'm not exactly sure of the name of those. One who offers armlets. Okay, so here they're calling them armlets. Armlets would be on the upper arm, like that. One time when I was with M.R. Sampath Kumar Bhattacharya, he went and he performed a big ceremony for about 9 days, and I was there. The donors or the sponsors of that ceremony gave him a gold armlet at the end, along with the rest of the Sambhavana reduction of the sacrificial fee that they would offer to him. One who offers armlets to the Lord becomes capable of conquering his enemies. O exalted Brahmanas, by offering a necklace to the Lord, one gains knowledge of all scriptures and becomes expert in controlling women. So it probably is mentioned here, Vasikarna, in one of the, we see Vasikarna mentioned. So here Hasta Angulyadanina. So that mention of the rings seems in the Sanskrit to mean finger rings. Angadadanina. Not sure what that means. Keyura has to do with the earrings. Keyura, or maybe it means a brace, a necklace. Let me just have a look. So Keyura means a bracelet worn on the upper arm. Okay, so Keyura is on the upper arm, right? And then we have this Angada. Also bracelet worn on the upper arm. Okay. Angada probably means the upper arm. So Angada Danya. Yeah. Okay. He destroys his enemies here. Yeah. And what does it say? Yeah. He destroys his enemies. I guess that means he rules the earth. Yeah, here it talks about women. Narischa Vasagatasya. Vasagatasya. Yeah, so it's a type of Vasikarna of controlling women. It's also mentioned in Narada Pancharatra. There are ways of controlling women with different spells and different amulets. So here it's being talked about in terms of offering a necklace. If you offer a necklace, it's interesting, okay, because the idea might be that if you offer a necklace to a lady, that it helps you to, she becomes indebted to you. So it's a way of controlling women by offering them jewelry. So here the idea is offer that necklace to the Lord instead of offering it to a woman, but then you get the same benefit of being able to control women. Interesting. Okay. So text 281. O Brahmanas. Elsewhere in the same literature, that means Vishnu Damotra. We're still looking at quotes from that. O Brahmanas, one can also offer ornaments made of imitation gold and jewels to the Lord. Okay, so the jewels could be imitation. The gold could be gold plated, or it could look like gold, imitation gold. One can soon satisfy the Lord by offering him ornaments made of copper and other metals which are not very costly. So this is very, very common, that you have copper and you get it gold plated and it looks just like gold. So sometimes they'll make these kavachas, they'll make these suits of armor for the deities in South India, and they'll be gold plated, but they'll actually be made of copper underneath and then electroplated with gold, right? And other metals that are not so costly. It used to be that silver, for instance, pure silver was not as costly as gold, still is not as costly as gold. So sometimes that's used, although silver is getting quite expensive these days. So text 282 from Padma Purana, there's a mention, by offering ornaments of various designs, such as conch, disc, and club, to the limbs of the Lord's body, one can go and reside in the abode of Lord Vishnu. So sometimes the Lord has more than two arms, and he'll have conch and chakra He'll have a disc in the conch, and he'll have the club, and he'll have different weapons in his hands or ornaments. And these can be covered by covertures or coverings made of gold or silver. Or if he doesn't have those items, the things themselves can be made of gold and silver, and they can be placed in the hands of the Lord. So in the case of Lord Krishna, there are other things which are offered to him, usually the flute. You can have a nice gold flute or silver flute, a staff that he rests on, when he goes and herds a cow. So these, whatever items the particular deity has, holding in their hands or usually holding in their hands, can be made of these precious metals and or with jewels also, and can be like a crown also, can be offered to the Lord. So now in the Nrsimha Purana, right, which is also an Upa Purana, but it's available, by offering necklaces, armlets, earrings, crowns, and bangles made of gold to Lord Vishnu, expert devotees become liberated of all sins. They themselves become decorated with valuable ornaments in the future and reside in the abode of Indra for a time equivalent to the reign of 14 Indras. Nice. So, text 285 to 286, now from the Garuda Purana, it mentions, O Lord of the demigods, or Devatas, a person who worships Lord Vishnu every day, offering him golden ornaments bedecked with jewels and pearls, will reside in the abode of Lord Hari for thousands of millions of kalpas. Kalpas are these chatur yugas. The kalpa is like a cycle, a full cycle of the four different yugas, which are Satya or Krita Yuga, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali Yuga. This is how Brahma instructed me. So I don't know who's exactly saying that. But continuing on to 287 to 290, right? In Kali Yuga, when someone sees Lord Hari decorated with golden ornaments, 7 generations of his family are delivered just by seeing the deity like this. If you want to see a lot of golden ornaments, you can go to Sri Rangam on Vaikuntha Ekadasi or during that festival, or you can where you can see the Lord covered with a blue velvet cloth, dhoti covered with 100,000 pearls. The other deity, the Utsava deity of Namperumal, is covered with what we call Ratnangi, or a complete suit of armor, golden suit of armor, which is studded all over with different golds with a complete diamond Brahma thread. You could also go to Tirupati, and you can see on any day of the year, you can see that Lord Balaji with all these jewels and gold. You can also go on to Sri Rangam on Jeshta Abhishek, Jeshta Purnima. This Purnima that we just passed, where we have the Jagannath Shnani Yatra, that same day there are Abhisheks done to other deities in other parts of India, including Sri Rangam. They do a big Abhishek of the large Periperumal, the large Ranganath deity. And at the same time, they bring out all of the precious jewels and crowns and ornaments and things like that from the safe, the temple safes. And the government of Tamil Nadu takes pictures of those. They clean them, and they take pictures to catalog them, then put them back in the safe like that. So if you want to go at that time, you can actually go and you can see them. Sometimes if you have friends who are pujaris, they'll actually let you touch them before they clean them. After they clean them, they don't want you to touch them. In fact, one day when I was leaving Sri Rangam, coming back to the west, I went. One of the pujaris, who's a friend of mine there, he asked me. He said, "Come to the deity room, see Lord Ranganatha. I have a surprise for you, and before you leave to go back." And when I was standing in front of the deity there, he said, "You close your eyes and open your hands like this," and he put the sacred thread, the golden sacred thread made of gold, right in my hands of Lord Ranganatha as a benediction for me, just before I went back to the west. Okay, bon voyage. Okay, so saintly persons have recommended that after offering food to the Lord, one should lavishly decorate him with ornaments, sandalwood paste, and flowers. Thereafter, one should again ask the Lord for permission to continue worshipping him. Okay, So it's interesting here, but we're talking about offering of ornaments after we offer the clothes, but now the first mention has come in Hari Bhakti Vilasa of offering a food offering. Obviously, we offer the clothes first and the ornaments first, and then afterwards there's a food offering. We're going to hear more in detail about how to offer food to the Lord, how to offer different foodstuffs to the Lord, and that will be a major section. But here it's just mentioned for the first time. So, and it's mentioned here that after offering the food, one should redecorate him, and with ornaments, sandalwood paste and flowers. Sandalwood paste is a good thing, which is normally offered after a meal. Sometimes even the Brahmins will do this after the meal. Somebody will go and they'll wash your hands, and your hands, of course, in India, people are eating with their hands, at least their right hands. And so you wash the hand with water and maybe soap afterwards, like that. And just to completely finish washing the hands, the host will normally give a little bit of sandalwood paste to a person who rubs their hands with sandalwood paste, like that. And that, is like the finale, and very. If you went to some, very big wedding ceremony or something like that, this is the way that they will treat the guests. So again, when we're offering to the Lord in the house or in the temple, kingly worship or very respected guest worship in the house, we can offer a little bit of sandalwood paste again after he washes his hands after eating. And flowers. Flowers are always offered. Right? There's a whole chapter 7 of Hari Bhakti Vilasa is all about flowers, and the next chapter we'll just be discussing flowers. Thereafter, one should again ask the Lord for permission to continue worshiping. So it seems like a break is there after the offering of foodstuffs, and some things after the foodstuffs. Tambalam also is offered after the foodstuffs, which is like a palate cleanser, or like we take after dinner mint or something like that, something to cleanse the mouth after eating heavy foodstuffs. In that case, it's like pan, betel nut, and certain spices. Mukhavasa, it's also called sometimes, or pan or mukhavasa. Pan is a specific leaf with spices inside, and we can go into that in detail if you're interested. But mukhavasa is just a mixture of spices, sweet spices that are offered to the mouth. Okay, so after all that's done, it seems like there's a necessity to again ask the Lord to take permission to worship him and continue the worship of him with other services. So after offering him shoes, one should bring the Lord to the altar while singing and playing musical instruments. Okay, so the idea would be that we have a small Utsava deity, a small festival deity of Lord Krishna here, right? And we are worshiping that deity just off the altar, maybe on a separate table or a separate pitam, throne. And then after bathing, drying, offering clothes, painting tilak, offering sacred thread, finishing offering the clothes and ornaments, then we could offer different things to the Lord. And after that, we would offer him his shoes, right? In the beginning, before we took him to the bath, the place for bathing, the Shnana Mandapa, right? Then we would offer shoes to go to the Shnana Mandapa, and we would offer him shoes to come back from the Shnana Mandapa to the altar, like that. So again, offering him shoes, one should bring the Lord to the altar. So normally we bring the Utsava deity, the small deities, back to the altar where the large deity is sitting, and they will sit just in front of the large deity to the side, and then while singing and playing musical instruments, holding an umbrella over his head. So whenever there's a procession of the processional or the Utsava, the festival deity, there should be singing, playing of musical instruments, sometimes dancing, and we should carry an umbrella or some sort of an umbrella over the head of the deity. Yeah, when we're traveling from the Shnana Mandapa back to the altar, the place of the bathing. So one should then once again offer, when he goes back to when the Utsava deity goes back to the main deity's throne, again offer asana, ganda, and tulsi leaves, and display the ganda mudra. Ganda means remember we saw the definition of ganda was given as sandalwood paste with aguru and camphor mixed in like that. Okay, and maybe some other items should be mixed instead of the camphor and the aguru if it's winter time or very cold, because the camphor and the aguru tend to make things to cool things off. Okay, so once we get back, we offer again a seat, we offer sandalwood paste, and we offer tulsi leaves. The tulsi leaves can be offered as like pushpanjali, touched the feet 3 times, and then discarded into the visarjini or the throw-out pot. Right. So we do this after showing. We're going to offer ganda or the sandal paste after showing the ganda mudra. So again, we have to find out what the ganda mudra is and learn how to use it. Now we're talking about offering ganda, the ingredients for making ganda. And I think this was stated before. I'm not sure. I thought we mentioned this before when we were talking about the samagris, or the different ingredients that we get together in the second part of the day. We have 5 parts of the day. First is abhigamana, upadana. In the upadana section of the day, abhigamana means getting up and doing sanyavandana, doing your ablutions, taking baths, getting dressed, like that. And then upadana means collecting together all the samagris or the ingredients for doing the ritual worship. So I think at that time we did talk about ganda. And here again from the Agamas is the ingredients for making what is called ganda. Now, ganda by itself, the word means smell, beautiful smell. But here it's explained the mixture of sandalwood powder or sandalwood paste, right, with aguru, which is a type of essential oil, right, very fragrant oil, and camphor is called ganda. That is called ganda. So now that's coming from the Agamas. Now, in Garuda Purana, it's explained, right, in text 292, 293, a mixture of 2 parts of deer musk, 4 parts of sandalwood powder, 3 parts of kumkum, and in this case, kumkum, if we look up here, kumkum, I'm not sure exactly if kumkum means kumkum, then it's just simply red turmeric powder. Otherwise, sometimes kumkum can also mean, for instance, in Tamil, the word kumkum pu, the word pu means flower. So kumkum pu means saffron. So kumkum could mean kumkum. It could mean the turmeric kumkum, or it could mean saffron also, right? So it's a possibility this means 3 parts kumkum or 3 parts saffron, and 1 part camphor is referred to as ganda. So this is a different type of ganda, so in the previous we get a definition, and now we get a slightly different definition. Okay, so if it's possible, you can make it like that. Yeah.
So this is just in form of powder, or is it mixed with water?
Well, no. Okay, so obviously musk is either liquid or it's or it's semi-solid, right? When it dries, okay, and then it says here sandalwood powder. I don't know why it says powder. Let's look and see. It says chandanasya, but it says chatvaras. Chatvaras means 4 parts, right? Chandanasya. So there is no. I can't see here. It says kasturikaya dvalbhagao. So 2 parts kasturi, which means musk, right? Chatvaras chandanasya 2. So it doesn't say anything about powder. That's the guy translator. He's translating that. It doesn't say anything about powder. So it can be powder, or it can be ground up sandalwood. I mean, obviously the wood itself has to be ground up. You can't mix the wood. You can either powder the wood or you can make paste from the wood. If you want to mix it with other things. You can't take a block of wood and mix it with these other things. It has to be ground up or made into paste. But there's no word for powder that I can see, so therefore we can forget about the powder. Sandalwood, just say 2 parts musk, deer musk, 4 parts sandalwood, 3 parts kumkum. It says kumkumasya, traya. See, here we have, dwal, chatva, traya. These are just the numbers, right? Shashina sach chatur samaha, right? Kapuram chandaram dharpaha, kumkumangcha chatur samam, sarvam gandamita iti proktam. These are definitions. So these are verses which we have to know. These are definitions given in Shastra of what is Ganda. So when we offer Ganda, it's a service to the deity. What is Ganda? Ganda means offering some beautiful scent, right? So any scent that we offer, we can refer to as Ganda. But here in the scriptures, there are certain definitions of Ganda. So here we've got 2 definitions. In the Agamas, here's a definition: sandalwood, agaru, and camphor. And here's another one: musk, sandalwood, kumkum, and camphor. These are 2 definitions. Right, so let's continue on, see if there's any more definitions. Okay.
And the
Text
medium is
294.
usually like a flower or flower petal. How to offer if it is a paste?
How to offer it? Okay. Now Ganda. Okay, so for instance, just sometimes in South India, what they do is they just make a ball of sandalwood. They have sandalwood powder and they make it into a paste and make it into a dry paste. You can make it into a ball, and the balls of sandalwood paste can be placed on the feet of the Lord. Otherwise, you can take sandalwood, which is like a putty, like a dough, and it can be pressed against the hand. This is the abhaya hasta. So when the Lord has his hand in the fearless position, right, the fearless mudra, right, in Sri Rangam especially, they take the sandalwood and they press it against the hand and they take it off, and then it leaves the imprint of the Lord's hand or the imprint of the Lord's foot or something like that, or the imprint of Lakshmi on his chest, and then they give it to people as prasadam. So for instance, this is when I was escaping India last year when the lockdown came for the pandemic, right? My Charya went to the deity and got one of these abhaya hastams. He got one of these sandalwood impressions of the Lord's fearlessness hand mudra, and he came and he gave that to me. And he said, "You keep this with you when you travel, so that you'll be safe." Like that. So this is the sort of thing and these are given out to people. They do it in South India. I'm not sure in North India what they do, but so my point is that sandalwood, there's other ways of offering sandalwood, which we've seen. People take flowers or flower petals. You take flowers like a marigold flower and you dip it in wet sandalwood paste, and then you touch it to the feet of the Lord, or you take a flower petal or a tulsi leaf and stick that to the feet of the Lord or the hand of the goddess, Radha, like that. Yeah, this is a way of attaching a tulsi leaf. So you can use wet sandalwood paste. You can use it in a more dry fashion, like that. So there's different ways, and these are the sort of things which are learned when you learn deity worship, and there'll be certain customs in different sampradayas which are probably not used in all sampradayas, like that. So, for instance, we see also in ISKCON they used to take the prasadam sandalwood and offer that paste on people's foreheads, or on the forehead of Prabhupada or the forehead of some great personality, like that. Not normally for the Lord or his consorts, right? But for deities but it's possible to also offer these things on the Lord also. These are prasadam items usually, which are offered on the forehead of. The idea being that we had sandalwood paste on the deity's feet, and then we could take it from the deity's feet, rub it off when we're going to put more on, or take it off, right? And then we could make it wet again, and we could also offer it onto the foreheads of the Vaishnavas as prasadam. So there's different things. Also, sandalwood paste, another example of how to offer sandalwood paste is you make it into a very sloppy liquid. If you have a lot of sandalwood paste, and what what you can also make paste with other woods, other fragrant woods. So if you have pine wood or some other wood like that, they use it. You can use tulsi also. You can grind tulsi up into paste and offer that. Use that like sandalwood paste. So if sandalwood paste is too expensive or if it's not available, you can use other woods like that. So I know I've been to the Sri Rangam temple, and sometimes they will come and they will give you if there's a special offering, a special honor being done to some Vaishnava. You go there and they touch they wrap a cloth that the deity wore as a gamsha during his as a cloth went during his abhishekams, during his. They'll wring that out. They'll give you some charanamrita from that. They'll wrap it out around your head. They put a garland on you like that. And then they will pour. They'll touch the deity's shoes to your head, and then your open hands, cupped hands, will be filled up with sandalwood pulp like that. Which normally for men, because we have a chadar around a waist, so the chest will be bare. So for men, we take that and we can rub that on our chest like that and upper arms. And for ladies, if we give some to the ladies would normally take it and put a little bit on the neck, on the neck, and that's it. So or maybe on the upper arms of the neck, like that. So this liquid sandalwood paste is also offered as a prasadam in some temples, like that. But it's rare these days because sandalwood is very expensive and it's rare. So unless you go to a really, really big temple where they have a big budget, like Tirupati or Sri Rangam, you probably won't experience huge amounts of sandalwood being offered. Well, it's very similar in many cases when you go to a wedding or you go to some family function like that. At the beginning, there's a bowl with wet sandalwood paste in it, and people are allowed to take a little bit and rub it on their hands. Just add it when they're coming into the ceremony like that, or when they're leaving. This is all part of Indian culture, and respectfully offering things to guests and treating guests. So here, this is basically we've got two definitions here of ganda. So we're going to continue on. Vraha Purana, which is a bigger Purana, Sattvic Purana, is also mentions that in the text 294, discriminating devotees should smear the body of the deity with camphor, kumkum, jasmine flowers, right? I'm not sure whether it actually means the flowers here or that it just means jasmine, right? Sandalwood paste, aguru, and gugul. Gugul is a type of Google, they make a thing called Google Duke, which is a type of incense, which is fragrance with this particular Google. Google is a scent. Okay, so this is Kapuram Kumkumum Chaiva Varam Rasayan Cha Chandam Chaiva Aguru Gugulam Tita. All these things are mentioned as being auspicious things. So it's unclear from this particular. It's unclear here whether they are mixed together or whether these things are offered separately. But these are wonderful fragrant items. So because we're talking about offering ganda, offering fragrant items, so they've listed a whole bunch of fragrant items which can be offered. And of course, other fragrant items. Like I said, if you can't make sandalwood paste, you can make paste with some other fragrant wood. There are many woods which are fragrant. Okay, so now text 295, also from Vishnu Dharmottara. It says, and also from Vishnu Dharmottara and Agni Purana, right? So in both places, there's a mention here. One should worship the Lord of the universe by offering fragrant substances, right? Such as Mura Mangsi. Mura Mangsi is another fragrant thing. Camphor, aguru, and sandalwood paste. Okay, so text 296, we're getting some more. From the Vishishta Samhita, it says, one should smear the Lord's body with sandalwood paste mixed with camphor and aguru. And in fact, there's this, in the middle of the summer, there's this festival in North India called Chandan Yatra, where you actually put sandalwood paste, more sandalwood paste on the Lord because he's hot, like that. Offer a whole lot of sandalwood paste in the hot season. So it's a very cooling thing. So, and again in Skanda Purana, a conversation between Brahma and Narada, text 297 mentions, among all fragrant substances, sandalwood is often considered to be the best. However, aguru is better than sandalwood. In black aguru, right? Krishna aguru, it says here, Krishna aguru, right, is better than ordinary aguru. And then kumkum is even better than black aguru, right? So in this sense, I think kumkum, we can take kumkum, as I said, kumkum to mean ordinary kumkum, which is turmeric with lime, red colored turmeric. Or alternatively, what it seems like here is when it says kumkum, it means actually saffron. So saffron is definitely, if we look at it, sandalwood is expensive. More expensive than sandalwood is aguru. More expensive than aguru is black aguru. And more expensive than that even is saffron. Saffron is in fact very expensive by weight, probably more than gold. So saffron is very expensive. Okay. So again, in Vishnu Dharma 298, it mentions, O exalted Brahmanas, besides the above mentioned substances, one should not apply anything to the body of the Lord. Oh, okay. So here's a pramana here that says, right, apart from the above mentioned substances, here's a rule. It says, don't apply anything else to the Lord's body. He doesn't like it. So that's all. So I guess scratch what I said about using other things, right? But as far as I understood, that's an interesting thing. We should actually see if that's actually na datavyam dvijashreshta. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it's basically saying these are the things which you can offer and other things shouldn't be offered. Sandalwood paste is often described as the best cosmetic to be applied to the Lord's body. Yeah, it's considered to be like a cosmetic. Now, in South India, especially the ladies use turmeric. They use turmeric on the face even as a cosmetic, right? So, text 299 from Narada Purana. In the Purana, Sri Sukadeva Goswami has described that just as a special variety of rice known as shali is very dear to Lord Vishnu, right? So is sandalwood paste mixed with tulsi, right? Now, he's translated that as sandalwood paste mixed with tulsi. But in the Sanskrit, it says here, tulsi chandanam. Now, tulsi chandanam could be, we could take tulsi chandanam to be what's called a dvandva compound, so it could mean tulsi and chandanam, tulsi and sandalwood paste. That's the way he's taking it here. Another way to take this compound in Sanskrit would be chandanam made of tulsi. So as I said, taking the tulsi wood and making it into a paste itself. That's also another meaning here. Okay, so those two meanings are both correct, right? And they both can be used. Okay, so we can either offer tulsi with sandalwood, or we can take tulsi and make it into sandalwood paste, make it into paste. Okay, then Agastya Samhita. Agastya Samhita is a famous shastra which some scholars say is very recent. Okay, but it has a lot of importance, especially to the Ramanandis in North India. Okay, so it talks about the worship of Lord Rama mostly, and we'll notice if we remember correctly, Agastya Samhita was a very famous verse when we were talking about the different mantras that in chapter 2 of Hari Bhakti Vilasa, which talks about initiation. It talks about the different mantras of it for initiation, I think, or in the end of chapter 1 or beginning of chapter 2, right? And it mentions a quote from Agastya Samhita that Rama mantras don't require any initiation. They're so great. They're so, like that. So this is a quote from Agastya Samhita. So again, another quote from Agastya Samhita, and we can see by the translation that it has to do with Lord Rama. as I said, because it's a Shastra which is all about the worship of Lord Rama. So if one decorates Lord Rama's forehead with a paste made from tulsi wood, there you go. See, a paste made from tulsi wood, that is considered to be better than camphor, kumkum, or even musk. Right. So we're getting, this is a normal thing in scriptures that we see different definitions, and then we see this is good, this is good, this is better than this is better than this, and now we're coming to even things which are considered even more better or best, this Shrestha. And this tulsi wood chandan is considered to be even better than camphor, kumkum, or musk. So it's a good thing. So now we have a Mahatmyam. Right? After we've given definitions, we've introduced the topic with a ta, we've given definitions, we've then spoken about the different varieties, and now we come to the glorification of offering ganda to the Lord, of offering these scents. So the glories of smearing the Lord's body with fragrant substances. The word lepana is interesting here because anulepanam, it's actually anulepanam is one word here. So it's ata anulepanam. Anulepanam means to smear the body, right? Lepanam. Okay. So in the Skanda Purana, in the conversation between Narada and Brahma, right, regarding the glories of the conch shell in this sense, but it says here, by offering sandalwood pulp with a conch on the body of Lord Vishnu, the Lord of Lords, one can immensely satisfy the super soul for 100 years. Okay, so here we have the idea that the sandalwood pulp is quite liquid. It's liquid enough that it can be poured from a conch onto the deity. Okay. So, text 302 from Garuda Purana, one who offers tulsi leaves dipped in sandal paste. So here it's very, very clear. Tulsi dala means tulsi leaf. Right? Lagnena, Chandena, Janardanam. Yes. Obtains, one who offers tulsi leaves dipped in sandal paste to Lord Janardana every day obtains the fulfillment of his desires. Good. Text 303 from the Narasimha Purana. O ruler of kings, a person who devotedly offers kumkum, agaru, and sandal paste to the deity of Sri Krishna becomes eligible to live in the heavenly planets for millions of kalpas. Remember, kalpas of Divya Yuga, right? So long, long time. Text 304, again, in Vishnu Dharmottara and Agni Purana, in both. So we have these. It's very interesting that Gopal Bhatta, whoever's finding the quotes to put in Hari Bhakti Vilas, doing the research, they found the same verse given in Agni Purana and the same verse given in Vishnu Dharmottara on a few different occasions. So Lord Hari awards various kinds of enjoyment to those who smear his body with sandalwood paste, agaru, camphor, kumkum, venamula, and lotus. Okay, so what's venamula? So here's here, chandan, agaru, kapuram, kumkum, ushira. Ushira Padmake. Padmake means lotus. Ushira. Didn't mention lotus here. Okay, so Ushira. Ushira. Ushira means, not sure exactly what Ushira means. Ushira. Maybe that's a misspelling. Yeah. That should be a long I here. Ushira. Yeah. Ushira is a fragrant root of the plant Andropogon muricatus. Okay. A species of grass. Okay. So Ushira grass. Yeah. Yeah. It may be, I'm not sure. It's a type of sacred grass. Okay. We have Padma lotus, Anulipto Hari Bhaktya, Varan Bhogan Prayachati. Okay, so yeah, so that person, those persons, Varan Bhogan Prayachati, they will get enjoyments, right? So he's written here Venamula here. I'm not sure. I'm going to find out what that means. but it may because he may have got this from the Hindi translation or from the purport, because it doesn't seem to be mentioned there in the actual Sanskrit, unless it's the same as Ushira. So let's Vena, what's it? Venamula. Venamula, not sure. Okay, so let's just take mula as being the root. Vena. Yeah, it's a type of reed. It's the root of a particular reed. Not exactly sure what it is. We have to do some more research on that. Okay, but Vena means reed, mula means root. Okay. So text 305 to 306. A person who offers black aguru, shihalaka is shihalaka. Shihalaka. Not sure what that is. I don't know what that is at all. Okay. And the best quality red sandalwood powder to the Supreme Personality of Godhead receives great amount of pious credit. Now, there's two basic types of sandalwood paste. Sandalwood. There's the white sandalwood and the red sandalwood. Normally it's the white or tan colored or cream colored sandalwood that we offer, brown sort of sandalwood. There's another one which is rukta, or more red, or more rusty color, rusty brown color, and that is the red sandalwood. Now, sometimes we see that it's mentioned in certain texts that red sandalwood is not offered to Vishnu or not offered to Krishna. Here, though, specifically, this is an interesting sloka because it says offering of Rakta Chandanam. See, it says here Rakta Chandanam. Rakta Chandanam. Now, maybe Rakta Chandanam sometimes can mean if you offer kumkum and you put kumkum in the sandalwood paste, then it makes it red. But that's another thing. Here, if it's actual Rakta Chandanam, it's that type of Chandanam which is the Rakta or the red kind, like that. So it's very interesting here that it's mentioned that this can be offered to Lord Vishnu, because sometimes in other places I've seen where it's forbidden. So you're going to find that these sort of details in different scriptures, it will say, yes, you can offer this. And another scripture will say, no, you can't offer it. So, that's why people search for these quotes just to prove things like that. So here's a quote which proves that we can offer red sandal to the Lord. There are, for instance, there's other examples of this where there are some texts that say don't use akshata, which is the unbroken rice grains, normally mixed with turmeric or kumkum, as a substitute for some item in puja of Lord Vishnu. So sometimes it says in Shastra, don't worship Vishnu by using akshata. So we can rationalize the reason why sometimes it said not to offer it, sometimes it said to offer it. Okay, so there may be some reason for that. But in any case, if we want to prove we can offer it, we have to show the pramana. If we want to prove we can't offer it, like we saw with those other fragrances, there's a pramana there in Hari Bhakti Vilasa that we shouldn't offer any other fragrance or any other fragrant items shouldn't be smeared on the body of the Lord. So who knows? That was something that I apparently have missed over the years. But when you go through it, very sort of minutely here, you see something like that. So somebody can quote that as a pramana and say, look, therefore you can offer musk, you can offer aguru, you can offer all these other things. But there's in Hari Bhakti, if you want to go strictly by Hari Bhakti Vilasa, it says don't offer anything else. So here we have text 307 to 309, again from Vishnu Dharmottara. It's talking some more about this. By applying sandalwood paste to Sri Krishna, a devotee can attain the abode of the moon god, right, of Chandraloka, right? And all his bodily and mental distress will be removed. By applying kumkum to the Lord, one can enjoy life in the planet of the sun god and attain good fortune in this world. By offering camphor to the Lord, one will go to the abode of Varuna Varuna is the god of water, or the god of waters. Water is cooling usually, so camphor is also cooling, so that makes sense. And be relieved of all physical and mental distress in this life. Text 310 to 311. Those who offer musk to the Lord come to enjoy great fame. By offering nutmeg powder to the Lord. How exactly do you offer nutmeg powder to the Lord? All one's endeavors will prove successful. Now, I'm not sure whether that just means putting nutmeg powder in one of the vessels of Padyag Yachimaniya, like that, or probably Yachimaniya, right? Or whether it means actually making a paste out of nutmeg powder. I'm not sure about that. Because it says here, Anuliptya, Ramyena Aguru Sarena. Just let me look up. I'm going to look up what this Ramyena is. Ramyena. Ramya. 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 Oh, Ramyaka is a type of champak kind of plant. Could also be hibiscus mutabilis. It could be Michelia champaka. Okay, so different things. Or it could also be the root of Trichosantes dioica. Okay, so that we'll have to check that out. Anybody who's a botanist can go and check that out and see what that is. Here it says, I don't see a word actually, unless one of those things is nutmeg, maybe it is, okay? By offering fine quality aguru to Lord Janardana, one obtains good fortune and great strength. Text 312. Bakula or Vakula, here it said Vakula. In the translation, he's put Bakula. That may just be a B transposed as for a V, original V transposed into B by somebody who's a Bengali scribe or something like that. So by applying the essence of Vakula is a type of flower. In South Indian Sri Vaishnavism, Vakula Biramam is the name of Namalwar. So he had these type of flowers he used to wear. So this Vakula is a famous flower in India. We can look up the Vakula flower and we can see the, what's Vakula? Vakula is the Vakula, okay? Maybe Vakula is the original. Anyway, a kind of tree, Mimusops elengi, said to put forth blossoms when sprinkled with nectar from the mouth of lovely women. Okay, and there's some other fragrant flower. Yeah. Okay, so it's a fragrant flower. The Bakula flower. By applying the essence of Bakula, right, on the body of Lord Hari, one obtains the merit of performing an Agdistoma. And I already mentioned today what an Agdistoma was, great sacrifice. By applying fragrant sandalwood paste mixed with aguru and the essence of Bakula on the body of the Lord of the Universe, one receives the merit of performing a Pundarika sacrifice. What's a Pundarika sacrifice? It says here Pundarika Palam Labet. So Pundarika, let's see what a Pundarika is. P-U Pundarika, lotus flower. Pundarika is a lotus flower. There's a lot of other meanings for Pundarika. Okay, do we have a Pundarika sacrifice? Pundarika sacrifice, I'm not seeing one in the dictionary. Not quite sure. Maybe it just means a sacrifice where we're offering lotus flowers into the fire. One time I went to Sri Rangam and my wife and I helped with this sacrifice that was being performed where we took lotus flowers and opened up the lotuses, dipped them in honey, and threw them into the fire. So 1,000 lotuses were offered into the fire, like that. So Pundarika, Bakula and Pundarika. Okay. So text 313 to 316. There's no doubt that one who mixes all the above-mentioned substances and then applies it to the body of Lord Janardana attains the merit of performing a horse sacrifice, or Ashwamedha. One who decorates the body of the Lord with all the above-mentioned substances becomes capable of wandering about freely within the 14 worlds for as many years as there are molecules in those substances. By spraying the essence of musk on the hair of the deity, one obtains the merit of performing any sacrifice he chooses. So here, this is interesting, not only because it mentions a hairspray to be used for the deity. So let's have a look exactly. Sugandha. Mriga means deer, so it refers to the musk. Kesha, Sogandhyanam. Okay, so Kesha means the hair, right? So interesting. It's interesting that the deity has hair. It's also interesting that the deity uses hairspray. And what kind of hairspray does he use? He uses musk hairspray. Very interesting. Okay, so then 317, text 317 says, one who offers a fragrant substance to Lord Hari after purifying it certainly is born as a Gandharva and enjoys good fortune. Right. So Gandhani refers to many, is a plural. The word Gandham is neuter, and so then Gandhani is a plural of Gandhas, of fragrant items. So if you offer this, you are born as a Gandharva, and which is a type of celestial angel, and enjoy good fortune. It's interesting that the benediction of offering Gandha is to become a Gandharva, because the word Gandha is used. In fact, sometimes we see this, that in certain rituals, which use Vedic mantras or even other mantras, that a part of the word itself for the upachara or the service is used in the mantra itself, right? For instance, when we're offering water abhishekam to the deity, or when sprinkling water in Sandhyavandanam, we use mantras where we use the word apo, which means water. Apaha, which means water. Apo is dhammayavo, asthano, jigaratana, like that. So similarly, that's that. We have mantras like that. So sometimes the mantra will have nothing to do with the actual action that is being performed, except one word in the mantra sounds like or is exactly the same as the ritual act which is being performed. So that's very interesting. Okay, so now we're going to have a Mahatmyam, 318 here, we're going to have a Mahatmyam about the glories of Tulsi wood sandalwood paste. Tulsi wood paste. Making paste to apply to the deity's body, right? Made of grinding up Tulsi wood. So this is coming from Garuda Purana, a conversation between Narada Rishi and Dundumara. He says here, one who offers Tulsi wood paste to Lord Janardana every day will reside in heaven for an almost unlimited number of yugas. Continuing on, text 319 to 322. In this age of Kali, one who offers Tulsi wood paste to Lord Mahavishnu and worships him with offerings of jasmine flowers will no longer have to suffer the miseries of material existence. By offering Tulsi wood paste to the Lord, a devotee's sinful reactions that were accumulated during his past 100 lifetimes become burnt to ashes at once. As Tulsi wood paste is dear to Lord Hari, it is also very dear to the devatas, the demigods, and the forefathers. He whose body is smeared with the paste of Tulsi wood at the time of death achieves the liberation of having the same bodily features as Lord Hari while residing in his transcendental abode. Well, that makes sense. If Lord Hari likes having Tulsi wood paste on his body, then if we put Tulsi wood paste on our bodies, right, at the time of death, then we will attain the liberation of having the same type of body as the Lord, having a body with sandalwood paste, with Tulsi wood paste on it. Interesting. So, text 323, O king, sandalwood paste and black aguru increase the beauty of Lord Vishnu only for as long as pure Tulsi paste is not available. Right. So if we make Tulsi paste, it's considered much, much better than using this costly sandalwood paste or black aguru. In other words, they are inferior to Tulsi wood paste. Right. Text 324 to 325. The aroma of musk and camphor continue to flourish until Tulsi wood paste is offered to the limbs of Lord Vishnu. O Dundumara. It's continuing on with that discussion between Narad Rishi and Dundumara. In the age of Kali, those who offer Tulsi wood paste to Sri Hari do not return to this mortal world. Text 326. A devotee of the Lord cannot be considered an actual devotee if he does not offer Tulsi wood paste to Lord Vishnu. There you go. There's a pramana there. If you don't offer Tulsi wood paste, it's so important to offer Tulsi wood paste that they're saying here is that you can't actually be considered to be a proper devotee of Lord Vishnu if you're not, or Krishna, if you're not doing this, if you're not offering Tulsi wood paste. Krishna loves Tulsi so much. Lord Vishnu loves Tulsi so much that therefore the sandalwood paste is considered here essential. So, text 327 to 329 in the Prahlad Samhita. So I've never seen this book, but apparently there's a Samhita, a whole section, either by Prahlad or about Prahlad, spoken by Prahlad probably. And here it's stated in this one, there is no better Vaishnava in this world. There is no better Vaishnava in this world than one who offers Tulsi wood paste to Sri Krishna. In the age of Kali, by offering Tulsi wood paste to the Lord with devotion, one can go to Vaikuntha and reside in his association. Those who smear the body of Lord Vishnu with Tulsi wood paste obtain the merit of bringing brown cows, giving brown cows in charity. Remember, these brown cows, brown Indian cows, are considered to be the best type of cow. Okay. So, text 330 to 331. At the time of death, if a person is fed Tulsi wood paste, is fed Tulsi wood paste? Yeah, let's see. Not quite sure about being fed. Fed Tulsi wood paste, he's liberated, even if he was sinful, by offering Tulsi wood paste to the forefathers while performing the Shraddha ceremony. They feel satisfaction for hundreds of years. In the Vishnu Damodara, again, in text 332 here, it says, one who worships Sri Krishna after decorating his body with Tulsi wood paste. So we should also decorate our body with Tulsi wood paste before we worship the Lord. So it's also purifying, right? One who worships Sri Krishna after decorating his body with Tulsi wood paste. The way this is written, it could mean that Krishna's body is decorated with Tulsi paste, or our body is also decorated. Anyway, it's not quite sure. Pute Krishna Pujanam. Okay. Attains the merit of worshiping the Lord for 100 years in a single day. Text 333, 334 says, now hear about the piety of one in whose house there is Tulsi wood paste used for applying to the body of Sri Krishna. The piety one achieves by donating 8 prashtas of sesame seeds on a day when the sun moves from one zodiac sign to another, right, which is a Sankranti, right? When the sun is in the northern hemisphere, can be achieved by pleasing Lord Hari, who carries a disc in his hand with the offering of Tulsi wood paste. Okay, so let's see if we can find out exactly what this prashta is. Prashta. A prashta is a particular weight, right? 32 palas, or a quarter of an adhika, or 16 palas, or four kudavas, a quarter of an adhika, half a sarava, or 6 palas, a 16th of a drona. Okay, that doesn't really tell us because we don't know what any of those other weights are, but there's a particular type of weight, right, which I guess is a huge weight, right? 8 prashtas of sesame seeds, right? So sesame seeds are very precious, and if you donate them, right, you donate them to somebody, especially a Brahmin or something like that, on a Sankranti, especially when the Sankranti the sun going from one house to another house, one zodiac sign to another zodiac sign, in the northern hemisphere, right? Then that's the same as offering tulsi wood paste. Text 335, in the absence of sandalwood, one can use kadamba wood. Kadamba wood, there's another tree called kadamba wood for cooling the Lord's body, right? So kadamba wood, this is what I said, that if you use some other fragrant wood, because there is a little bit of fragrance in Devadaru, because there's a little bit of fragrance in the Devadaru or pine wood, it's also counted amongst the cooling agents. So pine wood is very easily available. You can get pine wood and you can make pine wood paste and offer it to the deities like that. So who would have thought all these things could be used? They can. Whatever, if you have a fragrant wood, you can use it. So we can also note that chandan is also coming from wood. Agaru is also coming from a wood. So you could get agaru and make a paste from the agaru. Text 336 in the Garuda Purana, it mentions sandalwood is the best for worshipping Lord Hari. Well, that's not according to some other verses that we just read. But anyway, it says here sandalwood is best for worshipping Lord Hari. If sandalwood is not available, then one can use pine wood. Devadaru. Wood daru means wood. Devadaru. So it's considered godly wood, pine wood. So now we have prohibited substances. So after the Mahatmyam of all the substances and all the substances in detail which we can offer to the Lord, now specifically we want to say what we cannot put on the Lord, what we should not put on the Lord, which is forbidden to put on the Lord. Substances that are forbidden for applying to the Lord's body. From Vishnu Dharmottara, it also says things that are supposed to be forbidden. This is in text 337. So it says, offering lotus stem paste to the Lord causes poverty. Right? This is interesting because the lotus is the symbol of Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the symbol of wealth, right? Wealth and compassion, right? The goddess of fortune. But the lotus flower is considered wealth. The stem is not so much. So offering the paste of the stem causes poverty, the opposite of wealth, the opposite of what comes from the flower, right? Offering red sandalwood spoils one's health. That's interesting because up above there was a verse that said we can offer red sandalwood to the Lord. But here it's saying if you offer red sandalwood, it spoils one's health, right? Our health. Offering ushira, remember ushira was a type of grass, fragrant grass, sacred fragrant grass, disturbs one's mind. And offering powder made of wood of trees having a strong odor bewilders the mind. So there may be some tree that has a very strong odor, and that may not be offered as paste like this. So here it says powder, but I doubt whether the word powder is up here. Okay, so now there are some other trees which perhaps are not mentioned, going to be mentioned here, but which I'll just make a mention of. For instance, the eucalyptus tree, which comes from Australia, right? Eucalyptus oil is very fragrant, and it's possible to use eucalyptus and eucalyptus paste. You know, obviously it would smell very fragrant. Okay, so but it's probably unknown of in Indian scriptures. So 338. Those who wish to enjoy all kinds of happiness in this world should never offer the Lord paste from lotus stems. Right? So once again, we're mentioning the lotus stems, which are the cause of poverty, according to the previous verse. These prohibited substances can only be offered to the Lord in the absence of prescribed substances. There you go. So that's an interesting pramana here. So sometimes it says this in scriptures that don't do this, don't offer that, don't offer this. But then it says at the end, if you don't have anything else, you can offer it, actually. So here even, although it says you should never offer paste from lotus stems, it's also saying that there's prohibited substances like lotus stems paste, right, which can only be offered to the Lord in the absence of prescribed substances. Okay, so I think we can find some nice substances and we won't have to offer the rejected substances. Text 339, after offering a fragrant paste to the Lord, the dedicated devotee should fan him with a peacock fan or chamara. Here specifically the words vyajana, which means fan, and chamara are mentioned, right? So the chamara is the yak-tail whisk, right, which is used normally by a king or a rich person to keep flies off. It's called the chowry. In English, it's also called a chowry, right? And the fan is more for giving a lot of air, like that, a lot of cool air. So here it says, now we're going to talk about fanning the Lord. So after we offer the fragrant paste on the Lord, then we fan the Lord. The paste then will dry, it will evaporate, right? And it will create a cooling sensation on the body of the Lord. So here we have now the glories of fanning, because fanning seems to go with putting the paste on. First put the paste on, then fan. So in the Vishnu Damodara, it gives something of the glories of the fanning the Lord. This is in text 340 to 346. So it says here, after applying fragrant paste to the Lord of the universe, if a devotee fans him with a fan made of a palm leaf. So there are these palm leaf fans that you can get in South India for fanning yourself or for fanning the deity, like that. And that's considered a very auspicious type of fan. It's palm. They make lots of things out. They make umbrellas out of palm leaves. They make fans out of palm leaves. So he becomes qualified to reside in the abode of Vayu, because the fan has to do with air, and Vayu is the devata of air. By fanning the Lord with a chamara, right, one obtains the merit of donating one prashta of sesame seeds, a great quantity of sesame seeds. Then, O king, if one reverentially fans Sri Hari with a fan made of cloth, right? So you can have a particular type of fan which is made of a cloth, right? Then none of his family members will feel the wrath of Yamaraj. O king, one who pleases Sri Krishna by fanning with a chamara will not fall down from the abode of Vayu. The Supreme Lord has personally praised such a devotee. However, one should only offer a fan during the summer. Okay, so this is a very important pramana here, that we don't always fan the deity. We only offer a fan during the summer. Devotees should not offer sandalwood paste to the Lord during the months of December, January, because these 2 months are very cold. The Vedic injunction is that during winter, one should not offer any cooling substances to the Lord. So there are other substances which are heating substances which can be offered during winter. And of course, we have to, anybody who's watching this who's living in the southern hemisphere, we should also understand that the seasons are reversed there. So we have to look at June, July as being winter in the southern hemisphere, and that's the time when we shouldn't offer these cooling things. And we should offer the cooling things in December, January, and the fan also if we're living in the southern hemisphere. Now, of course, if you're living very close to the equator also, it'll be hotter than if you're living further away. So it may be that even in the summer, if you're in a place of a higher latitude or lower latitude, if you're in the southern hemisphere or higher latitude in the northern hemisphere, that you may also be in a very cold place. Now, of course, our temples in some of these places today are heated and cooled artificially, not just by the sun and the snow and the rain, but we have artificial heat systems and cooling systems. So in that case, in the case that there is an artificial heating system and you can keep the place warm, you can offer a fan. And in the case of keeping it cool, if it's cool, then you don't need to offer a fan. So all of these things are now superseded by some modern technology in some ways. They can be superseded like that by modern technology. If we're what's the point of Of course, we want to perform personal service. So even though it's a very hot day and we've turned the air conditioner on in the deity room, we're still probably going to offer the fan to the deity in arti, just symbolically, or just also because we want to perform service to the Lord, or also just as a way of blowing the cool air onto the Lord. So this is a very good pramana here at the end, right at the end of the sixth vilas. Thus ends the sixth vilas of the Hari Bhakti Vilas. So this is a very good pramana. So we should always remember these particular pramanas, right? Coming from Vishnu Dharmottara, it might be useful to look at Vishnu Dharmottara sometime or some of these other scriptures to see the full context and the reason why they're saying this. But here we have this idea of not offering sandalwood paste or certain things in winter. And remember, if you're very close to the equator, it's always going to be hot. So probably these things have to be adjusted according to time and place and circumstance. If it's very hot or humid, then obviously you want to offer these things. You want to offer the fan also, different types of fans. And if it's not, then you don't need to. Like that, we have to adjust. So now we have finished. We went all the way from offering Yagyo Pavitam, the Brahman thread, the sacred thread to the deity, right? Offering different ornaments, right? Last time we discussed offering clothes, painting the tilak on the deity. We didn't give the minute details of these because some of these things, like the tilak, of course, will be done according to the different group or sampradaya that one's belonging to. So we can understand very simply if it's a Gaudiya Sampradaya, put Gaudiya Tilak, and there are 12 names of Vishnu which come from the Upavyuhas, Keshava to Damodar, which are used in mantras to offer those things. So if we do that on the deity, we're also going to chant those names and put those in the same places. Okay, so after that we offer different jewels and crowns and obviously different ornaments, like ornaments that look like the conch and chakra of the Lord, or the flute, or the staff in the case of Lord Krishna, the bow and the arrows, like in the case of Rama and Lakshmana. Depending on what deities we're worshiping. Here, of course, the example deity being worshipped in Hari Bhakti Vilasa is, of course, Lord Krishna. And then we might have other deities that have other things. Then we are going to offer sandalwood paste and or ganda. We're going to offer ganda, which is defined in different ways, either chanda, naguru, and camphor, kapuram, or even more with musk and some other items like kumkum or saffron mixed in. So then there were different reasons and different ways of offering it, and then we had a discussion also about tulsi wood paste that took up quite a few slokas about tulsi wood paste. So that seems to be quite important according to the Goswamis. And so that, we can try to do that. Then we'll also was talking about if we don't have tulsi, if we don't have chandan, we could also use pine wood. There are some other woods that we could use, fragrant woods. I mentioned eucalyptus because it probably won't, although pine wood is mentioned because it's known in India, but eucalyptus was unknown in those days. So probably that's also a good thing that we can use, because that many cleaners that we use in the deity rooms contain eucalyptus oil and makes everything smell very nice. So we can consider using those things too. Then there was a small section at the end that talked about things that can't be used, things that should be avoided. And then even then, it said that the paste from lotus stems causes poverty and some other thing. Then even then it said if you don't have any of the other things, then you can consider using those things too, which are even forbidden, right, on certain occasions, right, when you don't have anything else as a substitute, like that. So that's how we end the sixth vilas. Now the seventh vilas is going to continue with more of this, right? There's going to be especially a lot of description of different types of flowers and grasses and auspicious plants that are offered to the Lord. And then we'll pick it up again. In the eighth vilas, and we'll finish off the series of upacharas or services that we do to the external deity with the offering of food and all these sort of items. And then there'll be, of course, at the end, many prayers that we offer, like Vishnu Sahasranama, which we saw, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranama, Puranas and things are also chanted at the end, like that. As we saw, they were chanted during the bathing of the Lord. So we're finished sixth Vilas here.